The topic for today is full stack .NET architecture. You might have attended sessions since morning today about what is full stack development. Many people have shown the full stack gRPC example. The session before mine was about full stack development using gRPC and Blazor WASM. And then there will be many sessions related to full stack development using Blazor and all. So here I thought that I would come up with slightly different topic, that when you are going to develop a full stack web application, or when we talk about full stack web application, when you are going to develop a full stack web applications, what all considerations you need to take, what will be there. So before starting, who am I? Why should you listen to me? I am basically a certified solution architect, Azure certified solution architect with over 17 years of experience. I run a meetup group called .Code Techies, where I talk about .NET technologies, just like I'm talking here. I also run a YouTube channel, so would love if you go there and subscribe and share this video, or like share all the other videos of mine. So this was, I will show this slide at the end also. So what we will be talking today, let me go one by one. I'll be talking about what is .NET. I'll be talking about what type of applications you can build using .NET frameworks. Most of them will be, of course, full stack web applications, desktop applications. So I'll give you a guidance on which all technology, which all frameworks to use and all those things. I will show you a sample application architecture of a full stack web application. It would be, I would say, not of an architecture, it would be solution structure. I would also guide you that how I am planning to deploy that thing. So that is one thing. Then considerations for full stack .NET architecture, what all considerations you need to keep in mind to develop a good full stack web application in .NET technologies. Advantages as well as disadvantages of using full stack .NET architecture. And of course, a small demo, because nothing is complete without demo. So I will be showing you a demo application, and I will be giving you a walkthrough to the code. I won't be live coding anything. I would be running that application once, and I will just show the login screen, and then I'll show you the architecture and the structure of the solution and how that application works. So starting with what is .NET. So if we go through the Wikipedia documentation or definition of .NET, it says that it is a free and open source managed computer software framework for Windows, Linux, and Mac operating system. It is cross-platform successor to .NET Framework. The project is primarily developed by Microsoft. So it is not only just a framework. When we talk about .NET is not just a framework, it's a complete ecosystem. Just like when we talk about Mac and Apple, we say that it is a complete ecosystem. You have laptops, you have mobile phones, you have Apple Watch. So similarly, when we talk about .NET is a complete ecosystem for building different kind of application. It is like when we talk about .NET, the latest version right now going on is .NET 5. It is the latest version, but remember, it is not the long time support version. The long time support version is .NET 3.1. So the difference between .NET 5 and .NET 3.1 is that .NET 3.1 is the .NET Core version, whereas .NET 5 is the amalgamation of all the .NET frameworks. So they have mixed .NET Core, .NET Framework, and Mono all into one and started .NET 5. So the latest, when we talk about what is the next after .NET 5, it will be .NET 6, which is like which is the true cross-platform, just like .NET 5, but it will be the long-time support version. Right now, .NET 5 is the latest, and .NET 3.1 is the long-term support version. So when you are developing cross-platform application like mobile application, you are still using .NET Mono version of the .NET. You are not using regular .NET 5 or .NET 6 or whatever .NET is there. And there is .NET Framework, which is like the original one, you can say the legacy one, that was Windows only framework. So that one was a Windows only framework which works on Windows only. So this was a brief introduction about .NET. Now let's talk what all we can develop using .NET. So this slide I have you can say, stolen and copied from many of the Microsoft presentations. Many Microsoft people show this slide where they say that .NET is your platform to build anything, any kind of application. So I will be listing some of how you can develop different kind of application, be it desktop, web, cloud, mobile, gaming, IoT, AI, how you can develop these kind of applications using .NET. If you see here, there are, I would say, there are many sub frameworks of .NET. So based on .NET, as I said in the beginning, .NET is basically a ecosystem. So .NET is the base. Based on .NET, there are many sub frameworks which helps you building different kind of applications. When we talk about desktop, which was the first one in that slide. So for creating desktop applications, you have many frameworks from Microsoft itself. So if you talk about Microsoft only framework, it is WinForms, which is the oldest one to create desktop application. There are many legacy applications built using WinForms, and they are still stable now. .NET 5 and .NET Core also support WinForm development, but remember, it works only on Windows machines. Then there is WPF, UWP. Both of these are again desktop application, frameworks for building desktop applications. WPF and UWP, both of these uses XAML, and it uses the MVVM framework and all those things. But again, all these frameworks, that is WinForms, WPF and UWP, are used for creating Windows only desktop applications. So if you use any of these framework, be it WinForms, be it WPF, or be it UWP, you will be only creating desktop applications which runs on Windows only. But if you are thinking of creating cross platform, sorry, so it's coming together anyways. So but if you are thinking of creating cross platform desktop applications, so in that scenario you can use Avalonia UI, which is basically a open source UI framework built which uses similar to WPF. It uses XAML, which is WPF XAML. So there are XAML, as many of you know or don't know, XAML is basically a UI language. XAML is like extensible markup language. It's an XML syntax, and it is used for creating UIs. And there are different, since it is a XML format, so that XML is passed by different XSDs. So when we talk about WPF XAML, it is a different XAML. When we talk about UWP XAML, that is a different XAML. So using WPF XAML, you can also use Avalonia framework to create cross-platform desktop application. And by cross-platform, I mean Avalonia UI application works on Linux and Mac as well as along with Windows. So if you are very good in WPF and want to create cross-platform desktop applications, then you can use Avalonia UI to create that. Apart from that, if you are planning to create cross-platform mobile applications, then in that scenario, you will use Xamarin Forms or the newer version of Xamarin Forms, which is Mavi. I might have forgot the full form of Mavi. It's, I think, multi-application UI interface, something like that. And both of these are from Microsoft. So Xamarin Form is the latest stable one, and Mavi is the new one, which is being released in November. Right now, I think it is in preview. It came with .NET 6 preview, .NET 6 preview 1. Then Uno is again a cross-platform mobile development framework, but there is a twist here. In Uno, you will be using UWP XAML. So if you are very good in UWP, if you have experience in developing UWP applications, then you can utilize that same UWP UI code to create mobile applications as well as WebAssembly based web application using Uno. So remember, just the session before mine, the gentleman said that we can create WebAssembly based web applications using Blazor. So similarly, because WebAssembly is an standard in web, so Uno also supports web development or web application development like using UWP XAML. So again, you can create web application and mobile applications using Uno. So that is another framework. And this Uno framework is not like, I would say it is promoted by Microsoft, but Microsoft team doesn't work on this. There is a Canadian team which works on this Uno framework, but it's still popular, and there are many production grade applications which are developed in Uno. Uno is quite an old framework. I would say it has been around 2-3 years since Uno is there. And there are many production applications built in Uno. So for creating cross-platform mobile application, if you are good in C# and you are good in .NET, then you can consider learning Xamarin Forms or Uno to create cross-platform mobile applications. Then, as we all know, for web development, we can use ASP.NET. So ASP.NET is not just a web UI framework, because it has many things to support. If you want to use gRPC, you can use ASP.NET. If you want to create RESTful web services, you can use ASP.NET. And as you know, as I have mentioned here also, if you use ASP.NET MVC, it is for creating UI. Apart from that, Blazor is again based on ASP.NET. So Blazor is your single-paged web-based, single-page architecture web-based framework, UI framework. So if you want to create Blazor applications, again, that is based on ASP.NET, and you can use to create SPA-based applications. So Blazor is basically Microsoft's reply to Angular and React. So it is the new SPA-based framework. Then if you want to create games, so in order to create games, you can use Unity. We have our own C# Corner MVP Vivek, who have given many sessions on Unity. So if you want to create games in Unity, Unity is a very popular gaming engine platform using which you can create you can say cross-platform mobile games also, and I think desktop games also. I haven't used Unity much, but I know that for sure that Unity is very much popular for AR VR games, and you can use C# there to create Unity games. Then there is ML.NET. So if you are more interested toward learning about artificial intelligence, data science, and all those things, so you can use ML.NET, which is again an open source framework for creating machine learning applications using C# and .NET. And internally, ML.NET also uses .NET Core. So it is like, you can, as I said, and as I have shown in my previous slide, that using .NET, you can create any kind of application, whichever you like. Even for IoT also, I haven't mentioned here, there is a .NET Micro framework using which you can create IoT applications also. So any kind of applications you want to create, you have a .NET sub framework available for creating that kind of application. Now, let's talk about why you should be interested in this thing, why you should be interested in developing application using C#. Number one, because C# is a fantastic language. I know I have copied this language from one of my Blazor slide. So that's why it's mentioned that, not that JavaScript is not, but statically typed languages are winning. So even if most of the people who are working in JavaScript, if they are using Angular, they are internally using TypeScript to write Angular code, or Flow or Reason, etc., to write using Angular code. And many people who are writing NPM packages, 46% of those respondents, I don't know this percentage data, how recent it is, because I think I have taken it from older slides. So it might be more than this, but TypeScript has grown very much in JavaScript world. So the people who are in JavaScript world, they use statically typed language like like TypeScript to create their to build their JavaScript application. So why not use C#? Because C# is a good language. It's a fantastic, versatile language. Performance wise, .NET framework or .NET Core is very performant. Number 7, it's on number 7 in TechEmpower. TechEmpower is a third-party performance monitoring, or I would say not monitoring, performance rating list. So it is number 7 there. 8 times faster than Node. 1.5 times faster than Netty and 47 times faster than Django. So that's the reason you should use, if you are planning to write data science application, you should use ML.NET instead of Python. You should use C# and ML.NET to write your machine learning code, because it is 47 times faster than Django. Similarly, like 7 times faster than Kotlin. So Xamarin applications are equivalent to creating your native Android applications. So that's the reason. Apart from that, you can share the logic with existing .NET backend as well as existing .NET code, because Node or npm packages are just a few years old, maybe 5, 6, 7 years old. But NuGet packages, the NuGet library, it has millions of packages and it is almost 11-year-old. So it has if you are developing application in .NET, you will get a NuGet package for doing anything. And most of those NuGet packages are nowadays cross-platform. They are available in .NET standard format or SDK style projects, which you can utilize in all the platforms. So if you have a NuGet package which you can use in a web application, the same NuGet package you can use in your desktop applications also and your mobile applications also. So those all benefits are there of using. That is very good benefit, that is code sharing. Reusability of code is already there. Then again, this is the benefit for again, full stack development. You have, when we talk about full stack, it has if you talk about full stack development using JavaScript technologies, because most of the time when we compare or when we talk about full stack development, mainly the frameworks which come into mind are basically like Mean Stack or Mern Stack, which are a compilation of different JavaScript framework, be it Node, be it Express, be it React, and the database is, I think, MongoDB in this scenario. So there the thing is that you have different JavaScript frameworks, so you have to learn different JavaScript. The concept is of course same, but the programming paradigms changes in that scenario. But when we talk about C#, the programming paradigm remains same. So if somebody is working in backend in C#, he will be able to use the same programming paradigm in creating UI also in the front end. So that is one of the benefits, that you can consolidate the team of both your backend as well as front end in creating one full stack application. Even if you talk about mobile application development, the same challenge here was there also, that when you are developing different kind of application, you are using different frameworks for native mobile development. If you are using iOS, you have to learn Swift or Objective-C. If you are using Android application development, there you have to learn Kotlin or Java. But if you learn Xamarin Forms or Mavi, then in that scenario, you just need to apply or use your C# knowledge to create this UI or create the cross-platform mobile applications. So again, it helps you consolidating the team in one framework, that is .NET. So that's why you should be interested in learning about .NET or learning about full stack development using .NET. So this is the a sample solution architecture of full stack application. So if you are developing a full stack application, this is kind of a sample solution architecture which I have shown in full stack web application. So this is for full stack web application using Blazor, where the UI is in when we see web head, WASM head, PWA head, and desktop head. So using Blazor, as I have shown in one of my earlier sessions, that using Blazor we can create cross-platform desktop applications using Blazor also, where we can use desktop head to create desktop application, PWA head to create progressive web apps application, and WASM head again to create WebAssembly based application, and then web head, that is a Blazor server to create web applications using Blazor server. So this is the architecture where we are using the shared UI. So we are creating one Razor class library which is being shared between all the three heads to give a same common UI framework, and then we are sharing the business logic using our web APIs and database access using one single DLL, that is Dapper DLL. I don't use Entity Framework Core, I use Dapper for data access. So those kind of things, using this we can create one full stack application where we have all the application written in C# and .NET using couple of frameworks. I will or sub frameworks, I would say. I will give you the practical practical structure of this solution when I will give you the code walkthrough of the sample application. So this is a full stack application solution architecture using web app, Blazor and .NET technologies. So key consideration. So what key considerations you should take care of when you are developing a full stack .NET applications? The consideration would be, number one, choose the framework based on your requirement. So think about long-term perspective. If you are creating a application, think about that whether that application will be used on desktop in future or not. Right now, if you are planning to create a web application, think that whether it will be created later on, does it require desktop technologies also? If you are creating desktop application, think that is there any plan to create a web application of that particular desktop application or web version of that desktop application? If you are thinking of those scenarios or those kind of things, then in that scenario choose a technology like Blazor to create a cross-platform desktop as well as web application, so that you can utilize you can go with maximum code reuse. But if you are using desktop resources heavily, if you are not creating an MIS based application where you are just getting some data, showing some reports or all those kind of things, and you are creating something like photo editor or something like I can say video editor or audio editor or something like that, which is very resource heavy, in that scenario you should go with a desktop framework like WinForms or WPF or UWP. If you are thinking of creating that desktop application as a cross-platform application, then you should go with Avalonia UI to create it as a desktop cross-platform desktop application. There are many cross-platform applications currently available in market since 10-20 years working good, which are very popular, and they are developed using .NET framework and Mono framework. So you can still, it is battle tested, you can use even .NET for cross-platform desktop applications also. So choose your framework or choose your sub framework based on your requirement, that what is your requirement, what are your long-term goals. Next is write loosely coupled code. So when you are writing application, always write loosely coupled code, that is create separate projects or create separate projects for doing separate things. If you are writing a data access layer, write that data access layer in a separate application or separate project, so that it can be reused, it can be packaged as a NuGet package, and it can be utilized throughout the application. Anyway, we are going through right now, the boom is on microservices architecture, so everything is written as an independent unit or independent microservice. So you should follow that architecture and create a modular code or loosely coupled code. Again, always use SDK style projects when writing components. So when we talk about components, it is like you have to publish it as a NuGet package internally, like data access. As I said, data access component in my applications, since I use Dapper, I have written one data access package which I use in all of my application, where I just give the connection string and it works basis on that. It gives me a class and everything and the connection, and I can run stored procedures and run queries using Dapper. So I use only one you can say DLL throughout my application. So package it in a smaller NuGet packages. Package your code in smaller NuGet packages. Now talking about SDK style project. SDK style projects basically came with I think it was just before .NET 5 when they started this. It was I think last year or last to last year when they started this SDK style project. So what happens in SDK style project is that you can it automatically, the .NET framework and the Visual Studio automatically create different versions of your solution or of your application, sorry, of your project to run on different frameworks. So if you are creating an application, if you have written code which is supported on iOS, which is supported on Android, which is supported on Windows, so it basically create different DLLs for all these frameworks, and it gives you an option to utilize that framework features. So if you create SDK style projects, it will be much more, your code reusability will increase. So in my opinion, you should go with SDK style projects, which are, I would say, which are kind of next version of .NET standard. Next one is follow architectural guidelines suggested by expert. Example, use solid patterns, solid principles, design patterns. So these help you not only because they give you a solution of standard solution of solving some common problems. So if you want to use like if you want to make your code so that it can be changed in future, or it can be changed extensively on runtime, you can use different kind of pattern, be it factory pattern, be it repository pattern for unit testing and dependency injection. So I would suggest to follow the architecture guidelines suggested by experts and use principles and patterns, be it solid principles or design patterns. And again, focus on writing independent modules for more code reusability. So whenever you are developing something, try to write independent code modules so that you can test it independently. You are not dependent on any other system. Whatever you are going to use in that application, make sure that you already have that as a part of your project. So that way it will be independent. It is one of the common guideline while writing microservices also, that it should be independent of any other module so that it can be tested independently and it can be packaged as a separate application or separate NuGet package as and when needed. Okay, so what are the advantages and disadvantages of full stack .NET development? When we talk about advantages, the biggest advantage is faster development cycle. So time to market increases if you are using full stack .NET platform, because you have a couple of developers which can work on all the sides of your application, be it database, be it backend, be it front end. So you can launch your product to the market very fast, very easy way. That's the reason it increases the faster, it gives you a faster development cycle for developing any of your product if you are following a full stack .NET development framework. Again, cheaper as we are utilizing existing .NET resources. So since we are going to use existing .NET packages, that's the reason it is much more cheaper. And even sometimes licenses can also be shared when you are using some .NET components. So many .NET components, be vendors, be it Infragistics, be it Syncfusion, they give you a bundle license of their components to be used in any other framework. So if you have a .NET framework bundle, you can utilize in all your application, be it desktop, be it web, be it mobile. So same component library you can utilize, so that also gives you more code reusability, that you can use the same solution everywhere whenever you are developing different kind of application. That is another benefit of using .NET full stack for developing your web and mobile applications. Now let's talk about disadvantages. The first disadvantage I would say is developers are running behind shiny JS frameworks. Right now, more and more developers are more eager to learn about React or Angular than Blazor. So that is, I would say, it is not a disadvantage as per for other people. It is more of a disadvantage for Microsoft. But when we see developers, when we don't have developer for any technology, it is a very huge resource crunch. Recently I was there in a meeting where people were asking me that from where do you get your developers for .NET, because in India most of the .NET developers are either working on legacy systems or they are running behind JS frameworks. They are not working on latest .NET frameworks. So that is a slight disadvantage. If you want to work on Blazor, it is slightly tough to get a Blazor or Xamarin or a good Unity, Xamarin or Blazor developer in India, I would say. So that is again a challenge or disadvantage, I would say. Then many things are in experimental mode. So when I said that .NET 5 is of course it's a stable version, but again it's not a long time support version. By long time support I mean to say that .NET is Microsoft is not supporting, or .NET Foundation is not supporting it for next 3 to 4 years, I would say. It is just supporting till the .NET 6 is being released. So again, if you are planning to use next version of Mavi, you have to wait for .NET 6. That's the reason many influencers, many popular influencer has said people to stay away from Xamarin Forms and Mavi this year at least, that is in 2021, because Mavi and Xamarin Forms are still in flux. The things are in experimental phase. They are not stable. However, I don't agree with them. Xamarin Forms is very stable. I I have one Xamarin Forms application which I have published in 2018. I haven't updated it that since then, and it still has 11,000 downloads. So I would say that Xamarin Forms is still very stable. And if you want to create your application in mobile, you can use Xamarin Forms for that. But again, the challenge is that many people don't see the way I see it. So for many people, it's like that the things are in experimental mode. Especially things will get stable only after .NET 6 release, which is the long time support version of cross-platform .NET. So I think that is one of the reason or one of the disadvantage in using this. And support availability, it kind of piggybacks to the previous point where I said that many things are in experimental mode. So it kind of piggybacks on that. So support availability, that if you are developing right now in .NET 5, unless and until you are not a big corporation, getting support for these things or these challenges are, you have to be dependent on community members. And it depends that community members also have their day job. So it depends on them to how you get your problem solved. So that is again a challenge. So because of these are some disadvantages of using full stack .NET framework. But I would say, in my opinion, that advantages kind of outweigh the disadvantages, and you should go with this. So now it's the demo time. Let me show you the demo of my application, which I have. It's a cross-platform. Uh, I would say it's a cross-platform desktop application. Sorry, Windows web application developed using Blazor. If you see here, I am right now running this application. This is the login screen of that application. Let me run this thing. I know this application, you might see this login screen as sorry, not login screen, the other screen of the application as broken. Yeah, you can see here the menu is slightly broken, and this thing is slightly broken because this is just a sample application. This is the application on which I do live coding every Saturday at 11:30 or 12 a.m. Indian Standard Time. On my YouTube channel, I do live coding. I add components to this application. The application name is Expenser, which is basically a expense tracking application. So if you see here, let me show you the, I hope you guys are able to see the project structure. If you are not, if the font size is small or something, let me know. Simon, you can let me know if the small font
Yes,
size
sir.
are fine or not.
All good.
Okay, so if you see this project structure, I have this Expenser.api, DB migration, desk, models, UI, and web. So you can see here that I have followed a modular approach for handling the different components of the application. It is a web application. Even though it is a web application, I have architected it in such a way that it can also be used as a desktop application. Remember, the when I showed you the solution structure diagram, there I showed different kind of web heads. So if you see here, this expenser.desk is basically a .NET Core application which uses basically .NET Core kind of console application built on a framework called Chromely. So Chromely is a cross-platform application, desktop application framework, using which you can create .NET Core based desktop applications using your web technologies. Even you can package your Angular application. It's just like Chromely is, you can say, it's based on Chef, and it's pretty much similar to Electron. However, Electron packages Node.js, like Node server, and your Chrome engine along with their setup, whereas Chromely doesn't do that. This thing is slightly broken, so I won't be showing you the execution of this application or this particular thing. But you can see here that I have architected this in the beginning itself, that I have a separate application desk for desktop version of this particular web application. Then I have this web for your web UI. So this is the web UI which is running here. This web UI which is running here, this is basically this expenser.web application which is the running here. And expenser.api is the one which is your which gives you the services which basically interacts with the database and give you all the data in the form of RESTful services. So I have modeled it in such a way that tomorrow, if I want to expose my API, Expenser API, to other application, be it if somebody is creating a mobile application, the future plan is to create a mobile application in Mavi when Mavi releases in long-term support version in November this year. So the plan is to create a mobile application for Expenser. So in that situation, I will be using Expenser API to interact with my server database. So that's the reason I have modeled, or I have created a separate API project. Again, if you see here, DB migration is basically for databases. As I said, I don't use Entity Framework Core, or I don't use that code first approach where I create the model first. I use database first approach where I create the database tables, and along with the database tables, I prefer to write queries, SQL queries specifically for any kind of database which are using. I don't use SQL Server because of the high licensing cost. I primarily, in my applications, I use MySQL or MariaDB. So for that, I write scripts, and those scripts are saved here in this DB migration project. And again, this DB migration project uses a NuGet package called DB up. If you see here, it is like DB up core, DB MySQL. So the benefit of this DB up, using this DB up, is I can set this DB migration in my CI/CD pipeline. So if I am using DevOps and if I am using CI/CD pipeline, I can use this DB migration to create my CI/CD pipeline for my databases. So if I have, whenever we are developing our web application, if we do any database change, we don't have to worry, or we don't have to think that how we will migrate or how we will deploy our database changes. We just need to set this DB migration project in our CI/CD pipeline, and it will be deployed on our database servers. So that is another best way to do it. Then I have separated these models here, which contains the different common models and the application related models. These are just DTO or plain old CLR objects, POCO classes basically. So you can see here, it just has the properties. It doesn't have any kind of methods included in this, because these models are basically just DTO objects which can be utilized. And I am utilizing or using these model objects both in my API application as well as my UI application. So this UI application, as I said, is my actual UI for my Blazor application. So this UI application is the core which basically works on both my web as well as desktop head. So if I run this desktop head, it will internally call this UI application to show the UI. And right now this web head is internally calling the UI project, which is basically a Razor class library. So to use this in this, so that way I have made my application a kind of a future ready application. So tomorrow, if there is also talks going on behind that they are planning to create or they are planning to launch a hybrid Blazor framework, which will be used for developing desktop application, which will internally use you can internally use Xamarin for like Mac, and in Windows it will internally use UWP, and it will run the Blazor application as a desktop application. So if we are going to use that, my this application is ready for that also, that I will just create one project with that Blazor head, and I will call this expenser UI project in that application, and I will run that application. So that way I have, you can see I have followed all the guidelines which I was giving, that I have created separate modules, reusable code which I can reuse in different situations, different applications if I want to. So this is kind of a small walkthrough of the application. This application, this complete full stack application is open source, and it is available on my GitHub profile. So if you go on github.com/techirathor, you will get this expenser project source code there, and it is being actively developed upon. You can also contribute to it, create a pull request, submit the changes. I have given the full plan. My plan is to publish it in on the website probably in sometime around mid of the April. So you can see how we can architect, or how you can develop a full stack web application using Blazor in a modular format. I whatever I had suggested, I have shown it here. So this was my demo.